Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how we took a giant box of wood and turned it into this, a cabin, an office, a small tiny house type thing. Now I should tell you that the instructions on said box were full of crap. They said that this project would take 2 people 1 day or 2 days to complete. I can't even remember at this point because it's been so long, as in like 2 months since we started this project. It was much more difficult than we anticipated for a number of reasons, which might not be problems that you end up having. So let's just get into it. I'm going to show you guys taking it from the ground up, and this video is going to be like a series, I think 3 parts. So this is just going to be getting the outside, the roof, all of that stuff done. Then in the next video I'm going to share with you guys finishing out the inside, painting the beams and installing the floors and doing all that stuff. And then the third and final video will be the final reveal, where everything's done, painted, decorated. It is an office, fully functioning, ready to go. Final reveal type thing. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, if you guys want to see all of that exciting stuff. But let's get into the office construction. All right, so all jokes aside, I will leave the information for this cabin kit down below in the description box. I have to tell you that once we did finally get it up, I mean, every person that's come by our house for various reasons, deliveries or electricians or just anybody, our neighbors have been like, wow, where did you get that? I would love to, to put one of those up. It really is a beautiful building, especially as an option for something nicer than the standard sort of, shed that you would get at Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. It definitely has that cabin feel. So it really is beautiful when it's done. But I will say, the instructions were very limited and a little bit difficult to read. They were mostly in metric measurements. I think that this is something that is a more common brand or product, perhaps in the UK. And so with metric, it was a little bit harder. We basically ended up going and buying a measuring tape that had the metric measurements on it as well, because doing the conversions in our heads in the middle of, trying to work was a bit of a challenge. So once that part of the puzzle was solved, the project did move faster. The other thing that we ran into was the foundation. So we had this slab of concrete already on our property. I believe the previous owner used it as like a carport area. So we figured if the building measurements were correct, that we could use the slab as the foundation and not have to pour or, work out another foundation. Well, long story short, it really wasn't even and it wasn't perfect. So a lot of the time that we spent in the first few weeks of this project was in figuring out the foundation and making the building level and just working all of that out. So we ended up having to buy some sand and gravel rocks and little cement blocks and stuff like that, so that we could figure out the best way to position the building to keep it as, like I said, level as possible and make as even of a foundation as possible. Obviously not going to be perfect, but definitely works for this, but took up a lot of the time in the beginning was working all this stuff out. So like I mentioned, once that was done and it was time to start, connecting the boards, this part, this tongue and groove sort of connection was, as you can see, fairly easy to do. Again, the only problem that we really ran into with this phase of the process was that there was a couple pieces missing from the box. So my husband attempted to count and sort everything, but there was one little area where there was a bunch of little tiny pieces, and he just went ahead and assumed that they were all there, and they were not. So that set us back another week or so waiting for the missing pieces to come in so that we could keep going up, because obviously without those pieces you can't keep building up. It's those little teeny ones that you see between the windows. Those were the ones that we were missing some of. So that really halted things for a bit until those came in. And we ended up actually having
having that happen again later where there was more missing pieces. So definitely, if you order one of these, count all of your pieces, make sure they are all there before you begin construction. The company was great about getting them out to us as fast as possible, but it's always nice to have everything you need when you get started.
Go, they'll find you in the glen, the horsemen closing in, rumbling, roll, and the wilder blows the wind into the river, raging wide, I'll start.
You know, one of the things that I love about this building most, and part of why I chose it, is because of all the windows. A lot of these backyard sheds have tiny little windows. You get maybe one on each side, and I love natural light. And so having all of the windows that this one had was just something that immediately drew me to it. And then you'll see as they start to construct the roof that it has like an open rafters type feeling, so you can see the beams that go across the top, and it has these vaulted high ceilings. So between the windows and the high ceilings, I just felt like it was such a beautiful construction and didn't feel like a typical backyard shed, and had, I don't know, just a little something extra that made me really fall in love with it.
Take it slow through the habits, brave through the whiskey's way. You learn to grow.
But of course, because everything is a give and take, having that beautiful ceiling inside meant that the roof pitch was quite steep. So without my dad and my husband being roofers by trade, and this really being the first time they were doing anything like this, it definitely made this part of the project a little bit more challenging. We just didn't have the right equipment, ladders, everything needed to make roofing at such a steep pitch an easy job. So they definitely found different ways to work around the issues and make it work. But that really steep pitch of the roof definitely posed its challenges along the way. The next challenge that we stumbled across was being able to actually put the roof on the house. Now, the other thing I'm not sure that I mentioned is that this did not come with anything more than those wood slats across the top. You had to buy your own roofing materials. The biggest problem we were running into was not wanting to put the nails through the shingles and have them appear on the inside of the roof. We wanted to make sure that those were hidden so that we could keep that beautiful open rafter look in there and not have to cover it up. So we sort of, went back and forth and thought about a number of things, but ended up adding plywood over the top of this just to add some more thickness, and then putting the tar paper and shingles on, and making sure that we bought as short of nails as we could possibly get to make sure that they went through all of those layers, but not all the way through all of those layers onto the inside where you could see them in the ceiling. And that ended up working out really, really well, but it added extra cost, extra time, extra work, all of that. here you can see that beautiful exposed ceiling up there that I just loved so much, and I'm going to be staining all of that. I love the natural wood look, and I just didn't want a bunch of nails poking through and have to cover it up. So I was really pleased and excited that they managed to find workarounds so that we could keep that beautiful ceiling.
But I swear it's in the morning when the sun comes out. Your God won't talk. Your God won't talk. But he'll sing within your blood and he just won't stop.
We are closing in on the final days of finishing up the construction of this office. It's taken a long time, I'm not gonna lie. Today's mission, finish this side of the roof. Gable slash dormer thing, whatever that is, that decorative piece up there, which was a really big pain in the butt to get done, but it's up. The cool thing is, half the roof is done. I'm not gonna lie, pretty happy about the job we did too. We still have a little bit of trimming to do on this side, but we'll do that when we get up there today. First things first, take care of bottom row and working around this unique little cutout right here. I'm not really sure what we're gonna do, but that's one thing I've kind of grown accustomed to, is just diving in and figuring it out as you go. It probably won't be builder grade, but I'm not a builder, I'm not a roofer, I'm just a guy with a hammer and some nails. All right, so this is the progress we've made after about, what would you say, Jeff, 5 or 6 hours? Yeah. Somewhere in there. Dormer took a little bit longer than anticipated, but I think we've got enough daylight to polish out the last 3 or 4 rows that are up there and work our way across. But once that's done, we're probably not gonna be able to do the cap row on the top of the roof there. And then we've also got to trim up the sides as well as do our valley, trim up some of the overhang shingles down the valley. So I would say another couple hours of work, probably bleed into tomorrow, and then we'll call this roof complete.
You look up with those angel eyes. I remember what I'm fine.
All right, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all the hard work that my husband and dad put into getting this building up. It was, like I said, quite a bit more work than we anticipated, but that's okay. It's done. I love it. I'm so excited to move on to the next steps of getting it all decorated and ready to be used. So be sure to subscribe if you've not already, and I'll see y'all again very soon. Bye.
Every day when the sun rises, I feel love beating down my door. Every night